Hi y'all, I'm your host Alessandra, and today I sat down with one of my friends and co-founders of Icefish Research, Lieke. We talk about how Lieke found her fish and human love in Iceland and touch upon the Icefish Research origin story. And if you hold out to the very end, Lieke will tell you her favorite fish fact. Everywhere we go, there is something to see. So dive into the blue to discover the world of fish. Fiskaspjall, where we talk about all things fishy.
So my name is Lieke Pontjoen and I'm from the Netherlands, and right now I'm doing a PhD at the University of Iceland in Reykjavik.
And how did you come to Iceland?
So that's a bit of a story because I came back here in 2016 for an internship. So I did my bachelor's in the Netherlands, and for my bachelor's I was allowed, or I had to do an internship, and I wanted to do that abroad. And at first my idea was to go to like Scandinavia, to either go to Norway or Sweden, but they never emailed me back. So my internship coordinator was like, "So what about Iceland?" And I was like, "What about Iceland?" And he said, "Well, you can try there because my daughter lives in Iceland and she really likes it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he sent an email to Agnar Balsen, and he emailed me back like within a week, like, "Hey, I've got an internship for you." And I was like, "Okay, I'll come." So I came here for an internship in like September of 2016 for 5 months. And the thing is, I found love here. So I returned to Iceland after I
Through
finished
your internship.
Through my internship.
Through field work.
He just started his PhD. And like I also really wanted to do field work because back then I was working with also already with Arctic char, so I'm still working with Arctic char, but I started back in 2016. And yeah, there was like this one day that we were allowed, or I was allowed to come along on field work, more or less allowed, because like an intern back then I wasn't really useful, but I was allowed to come with and see how it went. And like part of it was like fishing and getting trout out of the lake for this PhD student. And we had to wait for like the nets to catch the fish. So I got talking to that PhD student, and basically I'm still talking to him now.
Which is a good hallmark of a marriage, you know, still talking.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I went back to the Netherlands after those 5 months to finish my, finish part of my bachelor's. And then I came back to Iceland to work here for the summer with Kalina Kapralova. So she works on char as well. And yeah, then I stayed around. And then since I already worked with Kalina in 2017, we started talking about like what could be the next step, because I wanted to stay in Iceland. As she mentioned that I could do a master's with her. So I started my master's in biology here in Iceland, and also on char. So I worked for another 2 years on char during my master's, and then I stayed on to work as a research assistant here at the university. Also was still working on char, and I kept applying for like PhD funding, and then after 1.5 years I got it, and then I started my PhD, still on char.
So one might say you found two loves.
I
Your
guess
husband
so.
and the char.
And the char. Well, it's like we study Arctic char in Lake Thingvallavatn, and it's like this amazing system where so many like research questions can be asked. Because in the beginning I started with morphometrics, which is looking at the shape, and we started looking at the head shape and the body shape of fish. So that was really, yeah, those sort of questions like how do they differ, and how do they different do they look throughout their like development. But right now and then at some point I started working on like to work with drones and looking at their spawning habitat. So looking at like, okay, how do they breathe, and how do like how does their spawning grounds look like? And right now I'm tracking fish in the lake and seeing where they are throughout the year. So you can ask so many different questions in this one lake for this one species char. So it's just, you never get bored.
But did you always know that you wanted to be a biologist, or were there other things you wanted to be when you were growing up?
So not really, because I was never much into school. Actually, I kind of like high school, I kind of went through it like not super easy, but also I didn't do much. So it was always kind of like just passing, but also I was fine with that because I didn't have to do anything. I like school because I got to see my friends, but I didn't like school for school. And then in my bachelor's, I kind of struggled still a lot because I still didn't like school and didn't want to do anything. But like at that point, I did have to like study and like to pass. So I kind of hated that. But then like doing...
Did you have to like learn how to study when you were in your bachelor's?
Yeah, that was terrible. Like it didn't work at all. For the first 2 years, I didn't pass anything. So I kind of had to redo my first year. I had to redo my second year. And I was struggling because I just did not like just reading out of a book. And also in the Netherlands, you have these 10 weeks. So it's 8 weeks of classes and then 2 weeks of exams. And those exams are like, you have to pass that because there's nothing else that like can pad your grades. So it's like all or nothing in these 2 hours. And that does not work for me. So coming here and like doing research and like learning in a different way really opened my eyes. Like, okay, this is fun. Like learning in my own way and like thinking about research questions and like analyzing and discussing. And I loved that. So it's like just cramming and like doing exams doesn't work for me. It's like, yeah, not great.
So what inspired you to get into science communication then?
So, yeah, that was also a bit of a surprise. Everything has been a surprise, but it's like, I've always had this idea, like, I love that. I don't like putting myself so much forward on the internet, but I've always liked the idea of telling people things that we're doing because, like, we have these publications which are very hard to digest often, especially for people that are not in this research area. So I've always had this idea, this is nice to do, but I never really knew how to start. And it's also hard to do it alone because you have to put so much energy in it and then it's hard to keep up. So when we did this workshop for the VISTIS, the ecological conference. And yeah, hearing about like how science communication works and how it can be. And we were sitting like the four of us, like me, Alessandra, Michelle and Teresa, was like, we should do this together because we're all doing fish. We all like this idea of like communicating this to people, like showing what we do in a way that's like easy to understand with pictures, videos, etc. And yeah, that really hooked me. And yeah, we started talking about it. We all loved it. So I was like, okay, let's do this.
For me, like the memory that stuck in my head is like, there's this break towards the end. We're all going to the bathroom. And as we're like washing our hands, like, I really want to do this. Me too. And we basically walk out of the bathroom and we're like, we're doing science communication now.
Yes, true. Yeah. And then we put in a piece of paper, like we started like putting drawings and like words and everything, like really
ideas for names.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that. And I also love how it has evolved over 1.5 years almost. Like, because now we also launched our new website and looking back at how the old website looks and how the new one looks, it's like, okay, we've evolved. We have a new logo. We now started a podcast. It's like amazing how things go suddenly.
Yeah, in such a short time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Are you ready for a quick fire either or?
Sure, give it to me.
All right. Freshwater or marine?
I have to say freshwater.
Fieldwork or lab work?
So that's a bit of a combination for me. Like, I love field work, but at some point I'm tired. And then it's like, please let me not be in the field.
But then lab work or just resting?
So I also do I don't do lab work at the moment, but I've done a lot of lab work in the past. And I also love that in small doses because sometimes it's also too much. But yeah, I like this combination also in science that you can do field work, you can do lab work, you can do computer work, you can do writing.
Awesome. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Summer or winter?
Icelandic summer, but winter anywhere else.
Big international conference or small national conference?
Small national conference.
Amazing. What is your least favorite part about academia or about being a scientist?
That would be funding. So when you start a PhD here, often like it's not funding for all of your PhD. Because like when I started, I got 3 years of funding. So almost from the beginning, you already have to start thinking, okay, how am I going to get more money to finish my PhD? And don't like that because you want to concentrate on your own project, but so much and time goes into like getting more funding because you have to write proposals and you have to submit them, then mostly you get rejected, and it's just, yeah, it's a lot of work and headache that goes into that.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's one we all fight with.
I think so.
And wrestle with. What is your favorite part about being a scientist?
Yeah, I think I've touched upon this before, but it's like this combination of like all the work that you can do. Of course, some scientists only work on the computer, but my project is very variable. So I do field work, I do computer work, I've done lab work in the past. And also you have these interns that come along and you have to like teach them things, and you have conferences. It's all so many things, so many variables, so many like different things you're doing, and I love that. You never get bored. Like sometimes a week you do the same thing and then you're like, oh, I need to do something else, and then there's so many things that come up and so many things that you can do, and I love that.
Oh, so amazing. Is there one thing, if you could tell young budding scientists or just young people in general, is there one thing you would like to know them about science or research, or one misconception that you would like to clear up?
That's a good question. No, I don't think, yeah, I'm just thinking past how I was like young me hating school. But I think mostly I've always known about research, of course, but I've always thought like, okay, this is not for me, because I was never very school orientated. Like I always thought, not myself as stupid, but like not very smart. And I always thought like, okay, that's way out of my league. But like being in here and seeing like how I've come from like a mid student and still being able to do research, I think anyone can do it, but a lot of it is a lot of determination. Is that how you say it? Yeah. You just have to
Want it.
Yeah, want it and do it. And of course, it's a lot of organization as well, and a lot of self-motivation that you need to do research, especially a PhD, because you're being just led to do research, and you need to organize yourself and you need to motivate yourself. But I think if you have those things covered, like anyone can do research. And that would have been great to like know when I was in high school, or like even the first years of my bachelor's, knowing like, okay, you don't have to be this mega amazing person to like do research. Basically anyone can do it.
Non-genius welcome.
Yeah, exactly. But of course there are many of those people are in research and they are amazing and they are great, but it's like there's also space for like the non-geniuses.
Little old me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that is so amazing. Well, it has been a blast for me to work alongside you for this last 1.5 or so years. And the thought that you don't think of yourself as like smart boggles my mind, because the way you've done the website, because you're the main person taking care of the website,
Yes.
and it's like magic to me. You just taught yourself, and now especially the new website looks so professional, so sleek, so nice. Please go check it out. And you put so much work into it.
Oh, thank you.
Thinking that you're still on maternity leave.
Yes, exactly. I did that while my daughter was sleeping. I was just with the computer next to me, just making.
Exactly. I'm like mind blown. And here I have a dog and a cat and I'm struggling. And I think they're a lot less time intensive than a child.
Well, in the beginning, she slept a lot. So it was like a nice project to work on. Also, it's something like during my maternity leave, I didn't work on my like own PhD project because like really going into that, I didn't have the mental capacity for it. But like working on the website and still like being involved with science communication, that was really nice.
Well, we were so impressed and happy that you were still with us and you didn't just disappear. But yeah, we definitely wanted to give you the space as well.
Yeah, and now a new website came out of it. So I'm very excited for people to check that out.
Yeah, me too. All right. Thank you so much for sitting down.
Well, thank you very much.
Give us a little insight into who you are. And yeah, I think that's it.
Nice.
Thank you all so much for listening today. Big shout out to my team at Icefish Research, Lieke, Michelle, Teresa, and Gudbjörg. Thanks to Hasib for handling all the paperwork, and thanks to Háskóli Íslands for giving us their science outreach grant that makes this podcast possible. Thanks to Sandra Ribicki for designing our beautiful logo, and special thanks to Kaure, who trusts me with his incredibly cool recording equipment that allows me to go and talk to people everywhere. And our title song was written and recorded by myself. If you also want to support us, you can subscribe to our podcast on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. This also allows you to submit questions and suggestions for future podcasts, because yes, there will be a next season. You can also leave us a review on Spotify or YouTube for free. It really helps us grow. Follow us at Icefish Research on Facebook, Instagram, or Blue Sky, or visit our website at icefishresearch.com.
My favorite fish fact is that herring fart. This is believed to be for nighttime communication. Herring can detect much higher frequencies, so they can communicate this way without alerting other fish. These farts also almost started a war, but more on that in a future post.